Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we are setting the stage for a truly fascinating journey into the architecture of our own minds. We're looking at why we constantly overthink, why we're always trying to protect ourselves, and most importantly, how the ancient philosophy of Madhyamaka offers a real, therapeutic cure for our everyday suffering. If you've ever felt completely exhausted by your own internal monologue, well, we're going to crack that wide open today. So let's just dive right into this core paradox. It's a question that might feel, honestly, a little too relatable. Why do we spend so much energy announcing that we don't care? I mean, really think about it. We constantly throw around phrases like, so what, or who cares, or big deal. It's like this heavy coat we wear to protect ourselves from the vulnerability of actually participating in life. We act like we're totally above it all, kind of tricking ourselves into thinking we're free, but are we really?
To get a handle on this, there's a brilliant allegory from our source material about a monkey and a professor. Picture this. There's this monkey, and he's frantically tearing through the forest looking for a snack, getting more and more frustrated and hungry. The tragedy? He's actually carrying a perfectly good, ripe banana right there in his own backpack. It's a perfect illustration of what we do as humans. We are always desperately searching for fulfillment or happiness out there somewhere, while completely ignoring the abundance we already carry with us. We turn away from what we actually have because, well, facing it feels a little too real and frankly, kind of terrifying. Section 1. The Armor of Indifference. To really diagnose what's going on behind our constant need to seem totally unbothered, we need to talk about something called the load-bearing shrug. See, when you say, so what, it's not actually freedom, it's a defense mechanism, and it's work. You are working incredibly hard to pretend that nothing matters, just so you don't have to risk the pain of disappointment. It's like emotional Novocaine to numb the stakes of living. But holding up that performance, it's absolutely exhausting.
Just look at the stark contrast between these two ways of living. On one side, you've got anesthesia, which is the shrug. The primary state is just numbness, and it loudly announces, I do not care, to everyone listening. All the internal work is spent protecting the ego, which just leads to avoidance and distance. But on the flip side, you have enlightenment, which is just being truly awake. The state here is presence. It's quiet. The internal work is actually participating in reality, which creates real intimacy and connection. The big takeaway? A truly free person doesn't need to loudly announce how free they are to the rest of the world.
Section 2. Craving what you lack. Over time, this protective shrug builds up into a really deep psychological trap called the dukkha pattern, which is basically a cycle of suffering. It pulls us in two directions. First, there's want other, which is all about reaching. Your mind fixates on some distant future happiness or romanticizes things you don't have. Then there's neglect have, the turning away. That's ignoring the banana in your backpack because acknowledging you actually have enough makes you vulnerable. The crucial thing to understand here is that we literally create an identity around wanting. Why? Because if we admit we have enough, we lose our right to be disappointed. And for the human ego, losing that identity is just terrifying.
It reminds me of that old saying, the mind will create problems just to give itself something to solve. It's so true, isn't it? We literally trick ourselves into overthinking, spinning up these artificial crises just to keep reality at a safe distance. Overthinking convinces us it's helping, but really? It's just a defense mechanism keeping us stuck in the mud.
Section 3. The Madhyamaka Middle Way.
Okay, so how do we actually fix this? Well, the philosophical cure for our suffering is found in the ancient teachings of Nagarjuna, called Madhyamaka. And this relies on a core concept known as shunyata, which translates to emptiness. Now hold on, because in this context, emptiness is not some depressing blank screen. It's not graveyard quiet, and it doesn't mean nothing matters. It's actually the realization that nothing exists entirely on its own, and nothing has a permanent, fixed essence. Instead, existence is highly relational and dynamic. It is the incredibly liberating realization that literally nothing is set in stone.
Nagarjuna proved this dynamic, flowing nature of reality using a brilliant logical structure called the tetralemma. To show that nothing has a fixed, independent essence, he dismantles it using 4 pillars. Does something arise purely from itself? Well, no, that's redundant. Does it arise from another entirely different thing? No, because then anything could arise from anything. From both? From neither? Every single option logically collapses, and this doesn't destroy reality. Rather, it completely logically exhausts our need to cling to concepts. It relaxes our grip so we can finally stop forcing life to fit into neat, rigid little boxes.
I absolutely love this pivotal realization from the philosophy for whom emptiness is possible, everything is possible. I really want to highlight the warmth here. Because nothing is fixed, because nothing is locked into some permanent state, change is always possible. Growth is possible. Literally everything in life can be genuinely met, experienced, and cared for.
Section 4. Emptiness means nothing is fixed. So this brings us to a huge fork in the road, because how we interpret this emptiness completely dictates how we live. Think of it like two different temperatures. The nihilist totally misreads emptiness. They look at a world without fixed essence and go, nothing matters, so what? They use it as an excuse to go cold, distance themselves, and lean into that load-bearing shrug. But the bodhisattva, they look at the exact same reality and say, nothing is fixed, so let's meet it. They use emptiness as the foundation for deep compassion and active participation. It breaks down the walls between us, fostering incredible intimate connection.
I want you to try reframing your own identity through the metaphor of a river. You are not some solid, fixed statue trying to bravely withstand the elements. Think about it. A statue can be broken. Instead, you are the rivering act of living. You are a dynamic, flowing pattern. Thoughts and emotions, they pass through you, sure, but they aren't permanent fixtures. You just experience them as they flow by.
Section 5. How to stop forcing life.
All right, now that we have the philosophy down, let's talk about everyday application drawing on the Taoist principle of Wu Wei. This translates to effortless action. Now, this doesn't mean being lazy. It means moving spontaneously with the natural grain of the world, rather than exhausting yourself pushing against it with your ego. Think of a master butcher whose knife never dulls because he just naturally follows the grain of the meat. Or think of a broom. A broom sweeps a room beautifully, but it never feels the need to brag about the sweeping afterward. True peace is an unannounced act.
So how do we actually practice this? Let's walk through a super practical exercise called the hinge on it. It's essentially practicing unannounced noticing, shifting your attention from protecting yourself with coldness to participating with warmth. Step 1. Just notice one half that you usually neglect. It could be the sunlight hitting the floor or literally just the breath in your chest. Step 2. Suspend all labels and commentary. Don't tell yourself this is good or this matters. Just stop the mental chatter. And step 3, let the noticing be entirely quiet. Don't announce it to anyone. Just permit the experience to happen.
Let's do a quick somatic check right now. Take a second. Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders clenched up right now from forcing some internal narrative? Literally feel your body. That tension, that is the heavy, load-bearing weight of the shrug you're carrying around. The moment you stop resisting, the moment you just drop that protective commentary, notice how much lighter reality instantly feels. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to share the professor's final provocation to the monkey from our earlier allegory. It brings everything to such a deeply touching resolution. Purpose is what emerges when life stops asking, "What do I get from the dance?" and begins asking, "How shall I dance?" You don't need to overthink your existence. You really just need to change the quality of your attention, step onto the floor, and participate. I'm going to leave you with one final provocative thought to help you reconsider your own shrug. What would happen if you finally let the broom fall, stopped announcing your freedom to everyone, and simply drank from the cup in your hands? The deepest answers don't come when we find some clever, logical conclusion. They arrive when we live fully in the unannounced present. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and I'll catch you next time.